I used to do a series on my channel a couple years ago at this point, looking back at all of the makeup I purchased in previous years of that month. So previous years in January, February, March, all of that. I went through the whole year, all 12 months, and talked about all my past purchases. And I loved doing those videos so much. And recently I had a subscriber suggest that I bring that series back. I'm not going to bring it back in the same capacity that it was, where I'm going to do it every single month. However, today I thought we'd sit down and look at my purchases from 2024 from Ulta Beauty. Everything I bought from Ulta in 2024. Let you guys know my thoughts on them, if I'm glad I purchased them, if I still have them, because some of them I do not. Some of them I have already decluttered. Do I recommend them to you guys? Do I actually use them? All of the above. Recently on my channel, I did do a Sephora haul update where I talk about my last two Sephora hauls and my updated thoughts on those products. So similar idea. So I'm going to have that video linked in the eye and down below in case you want to check out those products. But like I said, today we are focusing on all the products I bought in 2024 from Ulta Beauty. Now, I will say one thing that Ulta doesn't do that Sephora does is they do not have the in-store purchases on the app. Sephora, when I go back and look at my past purchases, it says in-store or online. So it encompasses every single thing I bought. With Ulta, it doesn't do that, like I said, so I'm just kind of going off of the things I bought online and then the one thing that I remember buying in store. I'm not going to go in any particular order. I'm just going to grab and go. But the first thing I want to talk about is the Urban Decay Naked Palette. Ooh, okay, I bought this at the end, towards the end of 2024, and it has slowly creeped up to be one of my favorite palettes. Again, it was back in 2013 when I first bought it, and it is now again here in 2024/2025. I just love this palette. Actually, the look on my eyes right here is the first look with this palette for a 1 week 1 palette. So be on the lookout for that in a couple of weeks whenever I film the last 4 looks and edit it and put it up. I am so glad I ended up repurchasing this palette. It is such a good neutral tone palette. The shades are stunning. The quality is beautiful. The shimmers are not too intense like I prefer. This is a cult classic for a reason and I am loving it. I don't want to talk about it too much because it's not available anymore. So if you did not get your hands on it when they relaunched it or you don't already own it, I don't think you can get your hands on it right now. But maybe Urban Decay will bring it back, question mark. I'm not sure. But I've been loving this. So glad I rebought it. Then I had purchased an e.l.f. Wow Brow back in 2024. This is my favorite brow product ever. It's really the only brow product that I use. It's in my brows right now. It makes them look fluffy and natural, and I love this so much. You would have to like pry this out of my hands. Like I genuinely really only use that brow product, but you wouldn't know it because I bought 2 other brow products last year, which like I don't really reach for these. And not that I regret buying them because it was fun to try them out and I don't dislike them. I just don't ever use anything but Wow Brow. But the first of them is the NYX Lift and Snatch Brow Tinted Pen. And in this, I got this shade Ash Brown. It's just a brow pen with a really small fine tip, which is nice. It does create hair-like strokes really easily. It's just for me, I feel like I go overboard with these, especially in the outer portion of my eyebrow, and then it doesn't look as natural as I want it to. So I like this. I'll reach for it every once in a while. It just is not going to replace the Wow Brow. And then in conjunction with that, I also bought the Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is their Brow Freeze Gel. Their original clear brow gel in the silver tube. I love that stuff. I have gone through like so many of those tubes in the past. This one I didn't like as much though. I don't like the paddle, to be honest. It's a more flat paddle. You can see it like hanging down. It's a more flat paddle, so it's just kind of hard to distribute in my brows. I don't think it distributes in a nice even way. I guess it holds my brows nicely, but it doesn't like freeze them down to my face like it sounds like it would with it being the Brow Freeze Gel. I know it's supposed to be like a play off the Brow Freeze like in a pot gel that they have, or they still have, that a lot of people enjoy, but I don't know. I'm just not really a brow gel girly anymore. So while this is like decent, I actually prefer their old brow gel over this one. One that I've gone ahead and decluttered, I'll go ahead and pop up a picture here, is the LA Girl Glow Envy Bronzer Mousse. This was such an interesting product. It really was a moussey type texture, which was, I wouldn't say difficult to use, but just kind of confusing to use because it's like, do you use it as a cream bronzer under powder? Do you use it over powder? I don't know. I used it as more of a cream bronzer formulation under powder and then set it down. I actually liked this in the sense that it blended out nicely. I liked the tone of it. I liked the color of it. However, I did go ahead and declutter it because it did not last. It did not last on my skin at all. I genuinely would put it on and in a couple hours, it would be gone. Even if I set it down with a powder bronzer, which is so odd to me. You would think setting it down with that would help it last longer, but something about it just ate the powder bronzer and then disappeared. And actually, I don't even think they make this anymore. At least it's not available on Ulta's website. So maybe it was just getting really bad reviews and they decided to pull it. I'm not sure about that, but for me, I did go ahead and declutter it. Then we have some e.l.f. products to talk about. The first one being the e.l.f. Camo Bronzer and Contour. I picked up the shade Fair/Light in this. It is the cream bronzer that I have on my face today, although I did go ahead and top it with a powder bronzer on top. So not everything you're seeing is this cream bronzer, but quite a bit of it is. I like this. I will say I prefer a bronzer, like a cream bronzer in a pot form, just because it's easier to stick my brush in and apply it straight to my face. With this, I do have to like put it on the back of my hand and then apply it. Not the end of the world, just an extra step that I don't always want to do. But this is a really pretty cream bronzer. It's a nice tone for my fair skin. It's got a little warmth to it without being too orange, but it's also not too cool tone where it's like gray and ashy. It just is like the perfect, honestly, the perfect tone for my fair skin. It blends in really easily on the skin. It doesn't get like patchy or weird or muddy. It dries down. It sets down nicely with powder. It also doesn't seem to fade throughout the day as well. So this is a pretty good cream bronzer, especially for the drugstore. I'm not surprised because e.l.f. is such a reliable brand. Most of the time, their products are going to be good. Yeah, I kind of just bought this almost kind of on a whim. Not really, because I did try the blushes, which I'll talk about next, but I wasn't sure how I would feel about this, but I ended up really enjoying it. So if you need a good cream bronzer that's affordable from the drugstore, I recommend this one. And I had picked up the bronzer based off the fact that I tried the blushes and really enjoyed them. So I do have two of the camo blushes also from e.l.f. This one being Dusty Rose, and we also have Pinky Promise. So here we have a swatch of that Dusty Rose and then Pinky Promise. As you can see in the swatch, these are pretty pigmented. I would definitely go in with a lighter hand when it comes to these products. However, they do seem to blend out really nicely on the cheek, and they do have staying staying power because of that. Dusty Rose is the blush that I have on my cheeks. I do have it topped with another blush, sorry. I do like to go in with the cream and then powder on top. So what you're seeing on my cheeks is not all this Dusty Rose shade, but it is still a really pretty blush. It's a nice like nudie, neutrally pink tone. And then Pinky Promise does definitely pack a punch. This is one that I haven't really been reaching for too much lately, but I feel like once we get warmer in the springtime and then summer, I'll be reaching for this a lot more. Yeah, these are really pretty. Again, wish it was not this doe foot application format because I have to put it on my hand and then apply it to my cheek. I probably could just dot it right on, but I just don't ever do that. That freaks me out that it's gonna get like patchy and too intense. But again, if you need a good cream blush from the drugstore, I also recommend this. The third and final e.l.f. product that I have to talk about is another one that I recommend that I really like. e.l.f. is just kind of killing it these days. And this is their Glow Reviver Lip Oil. I first got this shade right here called Red Delicious, and it is the most beautiful red lip oily sort of product. It does have a little bit of pigmentation to it, not much. Like it's not going to show up super red on your lips, but I do think it does give a little bit of like a pinky red hint to the lips. When I liked this one so much that I went ahead and bought the shade Honey Talks. It is a lip gloss that I have on my lips right now with a lip liner I'll talk about next. This is just more of a brown tone. Obviously you can see in the tube in the swatch, a brown tone, like warm sort of lip oil, which I thought would be really pretty for this time of year in the winter tones. Let me add a little bit more. Not that I really need it. These seem to last for a decent amount of time because it is a little bit on the thicker side. I wouldn't say it's too thick, like it's gonna be goopy or like oily or anything on your lips, but because it is a little bit thicker, it does hold on to your lips a little bit longer than just like a normal lip gloss. So as you can see, it just makes your lips look really thick and juicy and plump. I feel like it does pretty much erase the lines on your lips as well. Most lip oils will do that, so I'm not shocked there. But yeah, these don't have a ton of pigmentation. As you can see, like my lips don't turn up brown when I apply this one. It does still give just a hint of color. They're pretty, they're nice. They have like a minty scent to them, which just feels good on the lips. And yeah, I really like these. I'm glad I bought both of them. The lip liner that I have paired with that lip oil is this one right here from Maybelline. This is their Lifter Liner in the shade Line Leader. I actually really do like the shade of this. I think it's a really pretty pink that has a tiny hint of purple. Not anything too intense, but it does lean that way. The only thing about this is it doesn't seem to last a super long time, which is a bummer. That is the main reason I bought this, is because someone told me that they last a really long time on them. So I was hoping that this would be a really long lasting lip liner for me. It does last a decent amount. It's just not as long as I wanted it to last, you know? I will say though, when I pair it with a more of a lip oil sort of product like this, it does go away faster than if I paired it with a more matte lipstick. That makes sense. The oiliness of a gloss in a lip oil probably does break down the lip liner quicker. So overall, I do like this lip liner. Like, it's not terrible. I'm not going to declutter it. If you had your eye on these, it wouldn't hurt to try them out, but maybe get it on sale because Maybelline's like on sale at Ulta quite often. Maybe don't pay full price for it. Another one that I have unfortunately decluttered is the Essence Emily in Paris Baked Blush Lighter. I don't watch Emily in Paris. I don't have any ties to that show, so that's not really why I bought it. I bought it because it looked like a really pretty blush topper. Like it says, it's a blush lighter, so highlight and blush combined, and I wanted it to just be a beautiful glow on the cheeks. I'm really into like glowy blushes, glowy cheek products, and this one just kind of missed the mark for me, unfortunately. It had a kind of mauve-y undertone to it that showed up a little too deep on my fair skin. So I would apply it over my blush in like that region of like a blush lighter, blush topper sort of situation, and it would just end up being a little bit too deep on my skin, and it was very glowy, which makes sense. It was a blush lighter, half blush, half highlighter. Like, I understand that, but it was almost just like too glowy. More highlighter than blush, and that was just personally not what I was going for. This is also another one that I don't think is available anymore, especially on Ulta. So I don't know if that's because it was a collaboration, it was just limited edition, or it didn't do well in sales. I'm not sure about that, but yeah, I did go ahead and declutter that one too. A product that does give me that beautiful glowy cheek is the Essence Pure Nude Baked Blush. This is in the shade Shimmering Rose. I went ahead and had Cool Coral all previously to like this year. I guess I bought it in 2023. I'm not entirely sure when I picked that blush up, but that is the one I have on my cheeks today, is Cool Coral. I actually have that one on because I thought I bought it last year, and it turns out I didn't. So sorry that I used that one and not the Shimmering Rose, which is the one that I did buy this year. But this is a really pretty, just glowy blush. Like I was saying, these give such a beautiful sheen to your skin that makes you look healthy and just alive. I don't know how to explain it. You can see on my cheek here, it just gives a really pretty glow. So I'm really into these blushes. Again, I have Cool Coral, this one right here called Shimmering Rose, but I did also buy the shade Pretty Peach. I liked the shade in the sense when I put it on my cheeks, it looked nice. However, when I would turn, it would have a gold shift, and that's just not really the type of shift I like in a blush. I just don't like that. I don't know why. Something about turning my cheek and just seeing like a whole bunch of gold, it's like I put highlighter on my whole cheek, and I just don't prefer that in a blush. So I did go ahead and declutter that Pretty Peach shade. I gave it to my friend Chelsea, so hopefully she's loving it and it looks really pretty on her. Again, it was just more of a personal preference, the gold shift. I rebought this foundation. I used to love it, and I don't love it as much anymore. I'm not sure entirely what happened. I don't know if my skin changed, if they changed the formulation. I don't know. Anyways, it's a ColourPop Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Hydrating Foundation, and this I have the shade Fair 30N. I feel like it's a pretty decent shade match on me. This is the foundation I have on my skin. I went through a whole Fair 30N a while ago at this point, a couple years ago, and I loved this foundation. I rebought it in Fair 20N. It was too light, so I decluttered that one, gave it away, and now I rebought it in Fair 30N. And after going through all that trouble to get my correct shade back in my life, I don't love this foundation anymore. I'm not entirely sure what happened and why I don't love it. It doesn't look bad. Like, again, it's on my skin today. It has a pretty decent amount of coverage. I did have to go in with concealer in my typical spots under my cheeks, here on my like T-zone, and then obviously under my eyes. So it doesn't provide like the best coverage, but I'm okay with that. I don't mind. It's a pretty medium coverage foundation. This used to just mesh into my skin, wear beautifully all day, and I feel like now it just kind of sits on top of my skin. It does emphasize dryness a little bit. It goes into my smile lines quite a lot, and in my nose crevices. Like, I had to really like take my sponge and blend it in my nose crevice, which is just kind of odd. I don't really need to do that with any other foundation. This isn't like the worst foundation I've ever had. I don't think I'm going to declutter it like I did the 20N. I'll use it up, but yeah, I don't know. I just don't love it on my skin anymore. But again, I don't know like what the disconnect is. Maybe I just need to find a really good primer to wear with it, because I get kind of conflicted on what primer to use. If I use a hydrating primer, by the end of the day, it can be a little too oily and greasy on me. But if I use more of a matte primer or like a blurring primer, then it can look dry on my skin. So this is a little finicky. Don't love it, but I don't hate it. The Ulta Beauty Matte Veil Longwear Eye Primer. I've heard such good things about this eye primer. I finally decided to pick it up. I like it. I do. I think it does help my eyeshadow wear for longer without getting too oily and like coming off on my eyelids. It's not like an end all be all, like my eyeshadow stays on forever. It doesn't crease. It doesn't like show any wear. Like, it does still do that. But I do feel like this this helps, and I do like this. This is probably my favorite eye primer I've ever tried, question mark. I do really like the MAC Paint Pots. I need to get that back in my life, that Painterly Paint Pot. I need to get that back in my life. But this is definitely a good eye primer in my opinion. The only other eyeshadow palette that I bought last year from Ulta that I remember, that I know of, is from Buxom. This is their Forever Babe eyeshadow palette. I bought this at the very, very end of 2024, like in November at some point. So I don't think I've shown myself using this on camera yet, but I've used it quite a few times off camera, and I actually really, really love this eyeshadow palette. I think it's really beautiful. I like the Buxom formulation. I think it's nice. I think their mattes are buttery and just really pretty on the eyes, and their shimmers are nice in the sense that they do not show up on your eyes too intense. They are more of like a shimmer satin sort of formulation, which I prefer these days. Let me go ahead and do some swatches for you. All right, so here's the palette swatch out for you. It honestly did not swatch the best. It really didn't. And this shade right here is the one up here that's like barely showing. It's pretty much my skin tone. As you can tell from the swatches, it really is just a good neutral everyday color story. I'm glad I picked this up. I actually haven't been getting as much use out of it as I thought I was going to. I don't love it as much as I thought I was going to, but I do still really enjoy it, and I do like to reach for it in my everyday real life, quote unquote. So I need to use this on camera and show you guys. Maybe I have used it in one video. Regardless, I need to show it again if I have not, because it really is a good palette. Then we have a couple Maybelline lippies. The first one being the Maybelline Superstay Vinyl Ink. In this, I picked up the shade 95 Captivated. I like this, but I'm going to be completely honest. I've reached for this like 2 times since I bought it. It's one that you have to shake up for a couple seconds, and then you put it on your lips, obviously, and you let it dry down, and it's supposed to just dry down on your lips and last for a very long time. I feel like when I did use it last time, it did last for a while. I liked it, and I actually really like this shade. I think it's a really pretty warm brown sort of tone, but yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I never reach for this. Ooh, it smells good too. Oh wow. That smells delicious. Like a buttercream sweet sort of scent. Yeah, I don't know. I just literally never reach for this, which is a bummer because I like it and I feel like I should. And then the other Maybelline lippy we have is their Superstay Teddy Tint. And this I have the shade 10 Current Mood. Another one that I have used it like once or twice and I remember liking it, but I don't ever reach for it. I think it's because these type of lip products are not what I'm going for. I'm going for this, a lip gloss or a lip oil, and these are not that. But again, kind of like this one, this Current Mood shade is beautiful. I like it. It's a really pretty warm pink shade. So I like both of these lip products. I just don't use them, and I probably did not need to pick them up. You know what I mean? The last product that I have unfortunately decluttered is the Urban Decay Quickie 24-Hour Full Coverage Concealer. I ended up picking this up in the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty at the beginning of 2023, and I was very, very excited to try it out. I had heard a lot of really good things about that concealer. However, I picked up the shade 10 CP, which stands for Very Fair Cool Pink, and it was just way too light on me. Like truly so light. It almost looked like I was putting white out under my eyes, and I did not return it in time to get my money back, so that was another one that I did end up decluttering. I think I only like swatched it because I swatched it on my hand and realized it was going to be way too light for me and did end up decluttering it. However, if it goes on sale again for half off at the 21 Days of Beauty, I feel like I would be inclined to pick up another shade, my correct shade, and try it out because I was excited to try it and I still like want to try it, you know what I mean? But just was the wrong shade. And then the last product I have to talk about isn't technically makeup, but I'm going to say it is because I want another reason to talk to you about this product because I love it so much. It's the Herborian BB Cream. In this, I have the shade Claire. If you can tell, I love this stuff so much. I use the heck out of this in my everyday real life. Like truly, I use this all of the time. Not really ever on camera, but I still do use it all the time. This is a perfect product to throw on throughout the day. When I'm staying at home with Ivy, or we just have errands to run, or we're going to the library for toddler story time, or anything like that, where I just want to make my skin a little bit more even tone. This isn't technically makeup like I said, but as you can see, it does have a tint to it. So it really does just even out my skin and get rid of like redness on my skin. Not really get rid of it, but just cover it up and hide the redness on my skin and the like couple of acne scars I have. And this just like blends into my skin so nicely and wears so nicely. It's also just a really perfect shade for me. I will say because it's a perfect shade right now, I'm a little nervous that it's not going to work in the summer when I fake tan / get a little bit of a real tan. They do have one shade darker than this that I might end up picking up so I can mix the two because I think it would be too dark on its own. But yeah, something about this just blends into my skin so nicely and makes it look perfect, almost like airbrushed, and like not perfect in the sense that everything's covered up, because it really is more of like a light medium coverage. But the good thing about it is you can customize it. You can put like a tiny bit on and make it a really, really light coverage. You can put more on and have it be up to almost a medium coverage. But if you do that, it doesn't look like thick or cakey on the skin. Again, it just wears really nicely all day long. I just love this stuff so much so that I bought it during the sale, tried it out, loved it, and then they put it back on sale from Ulta 50% off, because I also got this in the 21 Days of Beauty. I don't think I said that, sorry about that. But I bought it, tried it, they put it back on sale for like a 1-day flash sale, 50% off again, and I bought it back up because I knew that I would go through it, and I am going through this stuff. So yeah, if you need a good, just everyday tinted moisturizer kind of product that's going to literally perfect your skin, like look at the difference between my hands with and without. It just is perfect. Oh my gosh, I love this stuff so much. I kind of want to do like a whole day wear test video just to show you guys how beautiful it is on the skin and how well it wears. So if you want to see that, let me know down below in the comments, please. But that was it, you guys. That was going over all of the purchases that I made from Ulta back in 2024, all the makeup purchases. I did purchase some like nail care, skin care, all of that, but I wanted to stick to makeup for this video. I hope this was interesting to you or just fun for you to watch. I like this video because it's giving me the opportunity to come back a year later at some points of these purchases and tell you about them, tell you if I'm glad I purchased them, if I still have them, if I still use them, if I think I probably could have done without them. For the most part, I feel like I have a good group of products here. I was pretty intentional about what I was purchasing last year, and I plan to do that going forward the rest of 2025 as well. So I feel like I didn't have a ton of like random purchases that I bought on a whim that I don't really reach for anymore, if that makes sense. So let me know down below, have you tried any of these? Do you like them? You guys know I'm nosy. I love hearing from you guys down below in the comments. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much. You're awesome and I love you. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you have not yet, and hope to see you in my next video. Bye guys.